is Firewalker on the Firewalker Show. It's been a while since I've had an interview, talked to anyone in the indigenous community, in the Native American community. Today, I have my cousin, Rahkwees, on the phone, who is really going to enlighten us about a lot of things. We only have 30 to 40 minutes, and that's not nearly enough time for what he has to share, but we're going to do our best uh, to share in that allotted time. We're going to do our best to try to get as much information out as possible. So I don't have the bio for Raquiske, so I'm going to let him introduce himself, and he's on the phone right now. Raquiske.
Yes. Okay. I'm Rahkwees and of the Genocide clan, which is the Eel clan of the Tuscarora, known as the Ekwahemwa people, the real people, the real human beings. I was born in the green swamps. No electricity, no running water. We lived our life the best we could. We were secluded, but we had our well water. We had a hand pump. We gardened in the ancient way. We had food from harvest season to harvest season. And so I didn't grow up with the poor concept of not having money. Never knew about that kind of thinking. That provided us a way to maintain what was left of the sacred ways that surrounding the Waga had originally given us. My grandmother's generation. See, I come from the Eel clan, which is my mother's clan, through her mother's, going back through all the mothers. But my father's mother's Turtle clan, also of the Tuscarora. And her father also was Cherokee. And a lot of the people in my grandmother's generation, they began to get lost. But there was those who maintained what was left. And fortunately, I was able to be raised by my Eel clan grandmother. She took me when she was 70 years old, to my knowledge. And she raised me. And my father's mother, she supported that. And so I grew up listening to the stories, and I had a choice to go out and play in the woods or in the yard, or sit down on the floor by their knees and listen. And I listened to the old people because, to me, they're the ones who had the knowledge through their experiences in life, plus the knowledge that was passed on to them through the generations. Mama was not an explainer. She cleansed me. She cleansed me from negativity in ancient ways. She kept the area cleansed. She protected me. She did all the things. She was the midwife. And from what I hear, I was the last child that she midwifed. She was the healer. She was the boss. And so people called her a witch. The Christian people called her a witch. And I can understand that. Why? Because when you're indoctrinated into that and your mind is brainwashed into that and your emotions and your feelings are brainwashed into that, that's all you have and that's who you become. And so that's in their teachings so that they can take the power away from the people, make the people who they're not, that Creator made them to be, change them. That old saying, kill the Indian and make the Indian what you want the Indian to be.
What power do people have the potential to manifest?
Well, through our openness to sacred good Creator in the ancient way, for what we have left, many good things can happen out of the ordinary thinking and perception. Many good things can happen, and many good things have happened. People are healed, people learn and evolve and become stronger because the original spirit of this land is the strongest in this land and will always be. So being a part of that, our ancestors being a part of that, and through the clans, and through the names, through the ancient way, and the meanings of those clans, and the meanings of those names, and our relationship with Earth Mother, and the water world, from the smallest to the largest of the water world, and the sky world, all of creation. That's what Creator gave us. Our duties and responsibilities and our learnings and ways to our disciplines, practices to learn, to experience, and to learn for ourselves so that we realize and understand, which is different than belief systems that have come here. So I grew up with what was left of the original culture, and because Mama wasn't an explainer, I guess having gone to school, being exposed to that, because what the school did is it changed me to think enough in that kind of way that I wouldn't understand or I would forget or want to get away from what Mama was doing, because it was too much for me as a child, being caught in two worlds. That's what the education does.
Right.
And sure we have to have the education to live in this time, but at the same time we should be taught in the way to remain who you are, and who you are is most important of all, because who you are is what makes the education work instead of being programmed like a computer.
Let me ask you, speaking of programming, you were born and raised minutes away from where I was born and raised, up in the Green Swamp area here. You're now in Tennessee, and you've traveled all over the country. You lived with the Six Nations. You are the pipe carrier and the medicine man. Um, Through all of your travels and everyone who you've encountered, and with all of your experience, you're the same age as my father. Um, what do you think is the biggest problem you see among Native Americans throughout the country? It seems like there's a lot of hate among each other. What do you think is the biggest issues here?
Well, the biggest issue is that we're not who we are, who Creator made us to be. We're not in harmony with Earth Mother and creation. We're not in harmony and balance within ourselves, and we're not in harmony and balance with with Earth Mother and natural creation and Creator. We're not being who Creator made us to be. And so it's the genocide that is within us. Kill the Indian, make the Indian what you want the Indian to be. And I speak in this way because that's what everybody understands, but we are the original people. We are the real human beings. It's who Creator made us to be. We are the original nations of this land.
Mm-hmm.
And so our people suffer that genocide against themselves. It works within their hearts and their minds and their bodies against themselves, and they put it out on each other. And so that's the game that was planned long before they came here. That's what they did to the Middle East. That's what they did to Europe. That was done a little over 2,000 years before they got here. And so by the time they had finished Europe or gotten to Europe, the Europeans had been, they say, about 500 years under the genocide, the murder, the killing, and everything before they came here. And so when they came here, all they knew to do was destroy for their bosses, the Vatican. All people have to do is research the papal bulls of the Vatican, and they will see the trail. And so that's our condition. And for me, when I left home, I went to Wilmington. I stayed with my mother a tiny bit. I went to school for a little bit, and then I ended up staying with Cherokee people, a Cherokee family. And we really hit it off because my mother was lost. And I couldn't understand how she could be the way that she was. And so I stayed there for a little while, and then I left on a migrant working crew heading north. Ended up in northern Michigan. And so that began my trail. But what I learned whenever I left home and when I went to school, what was witnessed by me is that people were impressing each other. The kids were impressing each other. They were trying to be good enough to be accepted, and that whole game of American society. And within me, I said to myself, no matter what, I'm going to be who I am, no matter what. And so that's been my life, being who I am, no matter what. Who Creator made me to be, that's realized and understood it by me from that early time, and through all the experiences and realizations to who I am now, which is the same person.
Mm-hmm.
And so over the years, you see, I had to learn about what's called my enemies. At that time when I was very young, I quit school in the 10th grade because my spirit and myself knew that I didn't need it. And I knew also what it was doing to me. But I wanted to learn, so I learned on my own. I studied Marcus Aurelius, Plato, and all of those guys. I studied Rudolf Otto and Freud and Jung and all of those. I did a whole lot of study to find out my enemies, and then I did a lot of study to find out what caused them to be how they are. Because Mama had told me everywhere they put their foot on the earth, there's a sore spot. And I've been all over North America, Canada, Mexico, U.S., and everywhere I've been, there's a real big sore spot that's put by this American society and is still continuously being created. I've had the privilege and the honor to study with many different elders, But my own elder, W.A.R, Tuscarora Nation, we worked together about eight and a half, almost 9 years, and accomplished a lot.
He was in Niagara Falls, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah. The reason why the reason why I asked that, because I know a lot of people get confused with how the Tuscarora Nation was, how it's splintered. You know, the nation in the north, and then you have the different nations here and bands here in North Carolina. So it can be kind of confusing to someone from the outside trying to figure things out.
well, you see, that's the separation in the minds and the hearts that the people have created, that America has created, this American government and state governments has created. There's only one nation. We have Tuscaroras in Six Nations, over in Six Nations Reserve, Brantford, Ontario. We have Tuscaroras in Niagara Falls. We have Tuscaroras in the Ramapo Mountains. Some of them stopped there in the first Trail of Tears, which was after 1711, the War of 1711 at Neyohuruka, and also during the time of Chief Hancock. And there's Tuscaroras in the original homeland, that North Carolina, that corporate experiment that they set up in our territory of North Carolina. Our territory, which is Scarberry land. North Carolina is the experiment that they set up, a corporate experiment within Scarberry land. And so we are one nation. There's only one nation. The Creator made it that we became one nation. No matter where we are, we're still of one nation.
Mm-hmm.
And that nation is the nation that made treaties. We have international treaties. And lastly, with the U.S. So, when we look at this experiment, it's an experiment of the greatest genocide on the planet, to destroy the whole red race of Turtle Island. And it's still going on, but our ancestors won, those who fought to protect Earth Mother, natural creation, and natural life from being destroyed, and to remain healthy and to support life throughout the generations, the next 7 generations and beyond. They won. And also to protect the little babies and little children and mothers and fathers, grandmothers and grandfathers and great-grandmothers and great-grandfathers. They won because we're still here. If they had lost, we wouldn't be here. And so those are my heroes. And so the condition of our people is that they have been made to become an indigenous people. The original people of Turtle Island have been made, too many have been made to become who they're not.
Right.
There's a very few in different nations that have maintained. Some have maintained much more than others.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are those who still carry on no matter what.
And that was a conversation you and I had a few days ago. We were talking about the woodland, the eastern seaboard, especially the southeast, from Virginia to Florida, and how a lot of people's documents were changed to change them from being, like you said, kill the Indian inside, make him into something else. Well, also the pen is also mightier than the sword. They killed the Indian on paper, reclassified him, and made him into something else. Now, after generation of generation of calling yourself what other people told you you were, eventually you lose yourself and you forget. You hear remnants from your parents or your grandparents about your great grandparents, or you hear things about family being Indian, but you don't know the whole story. And I'm just speaking from my experience. I'm 48, and I'm going through the headache of trying to gather information that I wish I would have gathered when all of my elders, my great grandmother, my grandmothers were alive, that I took for granted. Now I have to talk to the elders who are still living, and I have to search online and do research to find all the information I need, because everyone wasn't privileged to growing up knowing who they were. And that was to serve European interests, right? For the purpose of land acquisition, to steal land and resources. Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, that's true. And also to take away the claim to the land by indigenous people.
Ah.
You take away the claim to the land, then you own the land.
Mm.
So there's many different kinds of genocide that has been perpetrated among and on indigenous people, being perpetrated today on indigenous people. And so that's the reality. And everyone that they bring here from around the world, they have to sign an oath to uphold and become American, become who they are not. And through the laws, they are free to destroy our sacred burial grounds, our sacred ceremonial grounds. They are free to do everything to destroy indigenous that falls within the laws of the United States.
Well, Rahkwees, I get it, and I've met other people that get it. Some of us get it. Why don't a lot of Native Americans get it? And it's obvious that a lot don't get it because of the division in Native communities. The hate and the division in the Native communities is off the charts. Well, how come? Why do you think no one gets it?
Well, it's the genocide that's functioning within them. They cannot hear. Their hearts are torn apart and is given to a foreign way of being, and that's who they have become, and their minds have been programmed in that way. In Six Nations, which is what I started years ago over in Robertson County, when we reestablished Tuscarora Nation in the original homeland, is that what they call it today is decolonization that's going on. What I called it at that early time in 1978 and 79, and then afterwards was de-brainwashing, cleaning up the heart, cleaning up the mind, and also cleaning up the body of the genocide within us. But you see, our people have to relearn. If we believe like they believe, if we eat like they eat, if we think like they think, we drink like they drink, then who are we?
Right.
So this whole thing, it's It's set up to destroy life all over the planet. That's what it was set up to do in the beginning. From the Middle East through Europe, and then here once they found out that there was land here.
Mm-hmm.
And so they made people forget that all life is sacred. All life is sacred, no matter whose life it is. The life of this female planet and all the natural creations and natural medicines of this planet, and the four-legged people, the winged people, and all life within and upon this planet and the great waters are sacred, and all people's lives are sacred. But they had to destroy that within the people in order to conquer the earth, supposedly. God, supposedly become what they call today stewards of the earth. They can't even steward themselves. They don't even know who they are. So how can they steward anything else? And they surely cannot steward the earth. Even if they understood and could steward themselves, they would realize that they cannot steward the earth. All they can do is support the natural creations and natural life and natural medicines to continue to carry out the duties the Creator give them by the respect and the care that they would give them.
A lot of people would beg to differ. I agree.
Of course,
I agree with you, but I'm gonna tell you why I say that, because I listen to Fox News, I watch CNN, I listen to Alex Jones, not because I believe everything that all of these people are saying, but I need to know what's going on around me, and I like to get different points of view. All of them are biased, but here's one thing I heard them all say that they are in agreement on, is that they brought technology to America, to Africa, and all points around the globe that was in darkness, and civilized the savages. And these places are prosperous today because of the contributions they brought to the world.
okay, let's look at it. Before they came here, we could drink out of the Mississippi, our people say.
Mm.
Before they came here, we could drink out of Cape Fear. They have no respect or care. They're very extremely arrogant. They have no respect or care for their own little babies, children, or anyone else. What kind of people would destroy and poison the earth and destroy the earth that gives a healthy food for the babies and little children?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of people would destroy the water and poison the water that the little babies and little children have to drink? What kind of people would destroy the air, pollute, poison the air that the babies have to breathe? What kind of people would even genetically modify the foods that the babies have to eat? Their own babies, as well as our babies. So, what has technology done?
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is look at all the so-called health foods, so-called organic foods that the people who try to make a difference, the ones who are sincere and true, I'm talking about, not the ones who try to capitalize and play the same game.
Right.
With the natural health foods.
Okay.
But the people that are trying to, that are not trying, but working to make a difference. Because they realize that we're in this situation. They realize that the nutrients of the earth have been destroyed. So, if I go to a country, to a land, let's say, I go to a land of Earth Mother. I don't know what makes up that land that gives all of the life of that land and the nature of that land. So how can I replace if I destroy what's there? How can I replace it even by the best intentions to through realizing that a mistake was made by me, or a mistake was made by my people, or my people just outright destroyed and didn't care? How can I replace what was originally there? How could I even know what was originally there? And the greatest technology cannot find that because it doesn't exist. So for all those people who would beg to differ, let them look at that. Let them look at this.
But we have a few minutes left, and I already know people are going to want to hear you come back, and we already talked about you coming back. But right now, a couple of minutes left. What do you want to leave with the audience who's going to be listening to this? Last words.
Well, it's understood by me that indigenous people are going to hear this, and I would say other people. I'm asking if other people are going to hear this too.
Yes.
Yes. Well, Creator made all life sacred all around the planet, all around this Earth Mother. All life means all within nature, creation, and the life of all people sacred. And that's what our people have to remember, and that's what all people have to remember or learn. Learn and remember, because they have been disconnected from that for so long. It's not their fault that they have been changed, but everyone has choice to become unchanged and become who Creator made them to be, or to remain as they are. All civilizations have fallen. It's America's time now. Our prophecy is almost completed.
And that is exactly.
So for us as indigenous people, we need to remember, we need to return to the ways, the sacred ways that Creator gave us, the sacred laws, and ways that Creator gave us, because those sacred laws and ways that Creator gave us is for all time. It's not living in the past. It's for all time because it supports all life in creation. And so it supports all life to be healthy in creation. That's what our people have to remember.
Well, I'm sorry. Apologize for that to cut you off. But with that being said, I want to when we come back, the next time we're doing the show, I want to get into the prophecies and the things that you are talking about right now, and things that people have no idea. The Hopi prop, the Red Katrina, we're gonna blast it open the next time. The next time we do another show.
Okay.
All right, Rahkwees, I really appreciate you teaching us this evening. I'm sitting under the stars talking to you right now, and I don't know if you can hear the all of the insects are singing to me right now in the background, but it's a perfect audience for this conversation. I appreciate you teaching us, and I look forward to another one. This is.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. This is Firewalker on the Firewalker Show, Talking Stick Radio. See you the next time.
Okay, all the best to you and to everyone. Onigiwasko.
On it.